Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all identities and sexualities and more, and welcome back, me old Chinas, to another book review. And today's book review is The Stone Rose. But before we get into that, it's Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. How's it going? Hope you're having a smashing time. So, well, sorry, that was a lot of energy, wasn't it? But yeah, I hope you're all doing great. I'm doing good myself. Sorry, I'm talking a bit too much about myself. But let's jump right into the book review, shall we? Oh, The Stone Rose. The Doctor and Rose, are off on another adventure, and this time it all starts after a mild curiosity in a museum. Doctor, Rose, and her mum and her boyfriend Mickey all turn up to the British Museum when all of a sudden Rose's mum clocks that a statue looks very similar to her own daughter. The Doctor and Rose take this as a challenge in their gambling book of adventures in seeking out why this statue's here and how it started. After examining the statue very closely, the Doctor begins to notice that this statue indeed is something of a marvel. It comes from Roman times about 2,000 years ago. Beneath the statue, it says Fortuna, a goddess from the Roman times, believed to bring people good luck or bad luck. Unsure what they'll get on this adventure, the pair set off into the TARDIS, through time and space, through the universe, to explore what is out there. On arriving in Rome, soon they realise not all is as it seems. It turns out that a boy who could not sculpt or had no miraculous talents has magnificently become the greatest sculptor in all of Rome. Alongside this, it also turns out that a wealthy gentleman's son has gone missing after being a client of this new sculptor. The Doctor and Rose start seeking out answers, and soon they come to discover that the sculptor has been turning people to stone. Yes, you heard that right. To stone. Rose gets caught up in the massive conspiracy going on behind the sculptor, and her herself is even turned to stone. The Doctor, unknowing what to do, gets caught in a cat and dog chase as he is chased into the arena and has also tried to escape and figure out a way to restore Rose back to her former self. On breaking down and unsure whether he has the answers to this problem, the Doctor goes back to the modern day and confronts her boyfriend, Mickey, explaining that he believes the whole process is pointless and that there is no escape to this unending terror. Then the Doctor reattempts to go back in time to Rome again in hopes to save Rose from her dire fate. Doing so, he finds himself with the cure for the stone statues, but not enough to figure out how to cure Rose. He eventually tracks down where Rose's statue is. He finds himself in a bit of a puzzle, and then Rose finds herself in even more danger as she is released from the stone itself. Turns out that Rose and a girl who worked at the house has been trapped in this never-ending cycle with this genie who has been manipulating time around them. In a way, this is very similar to the events of Turn Left, although, rather than it just being that the Doctor has gone, it being that it all comes down to the trick of wishes. Eventually, after the genie begins to set time and reality back to the place it should be, after Rose and this Vanessa tricking the genie, they eventually manage to ask the Doctor what happened and why the genie is so dangerous in the future. The Doctor points out that the genie must never be allowed to go back to the future, as it was supposed to have been destroyed during the last genie purge in the future, after all the genies became rogue against their masters and started using their own wishes for their own demise. Doctor and Rose eventually manage to send Vanessa back to the far future, and dispose of the genie to a place where the genie will be free. To do so, Rose must do the sacred thing that happens in Aladdin. She must wish for the genie to be free, and so she does, and its shackles are unbroken. After freeing the genie, Rose still has one more question on her lips. She begins to ask how the Doctor managed to still maintain the timeline for there to be a statue within the British Museum, even though Rose is no longer made of stone. Doctor then eventually explains that it wasn't Rose in the museum at all, that after looking very closely at the statue, there were slight adorations to the statue which proved that it wasn't a living person. This at first confuses Rose, until eventually the Doctor points out that he and Michelangelo had sculpted Rose based off of some pictures they were given by Mickey Smith. Managed to get Rose right down to the very last detail. Doctor and Rose share a banter when the Doctor points out that there is a signature of him on Rose's backside, but no one will ever be able to figure it out on the statue due to it being written in High Gallifreyan. During the course of this story, the Doctor also points out that the Earth has been invaded many times by many fictional characters, not just genies. He points out that it's been invaded by SpongeBob and RoboCop. Rose doesn't take him seriously on this matter, of course, and why would she? So that's the overall summary of the story of the Stone Rose. But the question is, what is my scoring for this story? Well, the story is very strong at the start, but I have got to admit that I feel like as the story progressed, there were moments where a lot of the resolution could have been brought up much earlier, rather than confusing the audience with this whole idea of paradoxes. The whole concept of the paradox within itself about altering time or the Doctor meeting himself makes sense, but I do feel like there could have been at least a hint within the beginning of the story of Rose going back in time and giving the Doctor the vial to help him save Rose and the other people trapped in stone much earlier in the book. And for that reason, I give the Stone Rose a solid 5 out of 10, just for that. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in another book review. Until then, stay beautiful, stay amazing, and Merry Christmas or Happy holidays to you all.